I remember the way she said it. Calm, almost polite, like she was telling me something small. "Mom, you don't really fit in with my friends anymore." Those were her exact words. At first, I thought she was joking. I even laughed, waiting for her to smile back at me. But she didn't. She just looked away, her arms folded tight, like she was bracing herself for my reaction. It was one of those sunny Saturday afternoons when everything outside looks too cheerful for the way your heart feels inside. I had come over with a peach cobbler, her favorite, and I was wearing the blue cardigan she gave me for my birthday last year. I thought I was being thoughtful, showing up to surprise her before her little get-together with her friends. I'd done it so many times before. She always said, "Mom, you're part of the gang," when I brought snacks and stayed to chat. But that day, it felt different. When I walked into her living room, I noticed it right away. The air felt tight. Her friends were already there, sitting on the couch, glasses of wine in their hands. They stopped talking when I came in. No one smiled, not even her. She stood up quickly and said, "Oh, Mom, you didn't have to come." I told her I just wanted to drop off the cobbler, maybe stay for a bit like old times, but she hesitated. Then she walked me toward the kitchen, away from everyone else. That's when she said it. "You don't really fit in with my friends anymore." It landed heavy, like a stone dropped into a quiet pond. I remember blinking a few times, thinking I must have heard her wrong. I asked softly, "What do you mean, honey?" And she said, "It's just, they're younger, you know? We talk about different things now. You wouldn't really get it." I could feel my chest tightening, like someone was pressing down on it. I tried to smile, tried to make it easy for her. I told her I understood. But I didn't. Not one bit. When I walked back through that living room to leave, her friends gave me polite smiles. The kind people give strangers in grocery stores. Not warm, not mean, just distant. As I walked to my car, the sunlight hit the cobbler dish still warm in my hands. I remember thinking, I made this for her. The same recipe my mother taught me. 3 generations of women tied to that dessert, and somehow, I was now the one left out. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with a slice of that cobbler and a cup of tea. The house was quiet, too quiet. I kept replaying her voice in my head. "You don't really fit in with my friends anymore." And for the first time, it hit me. Maybe I didn't fit into her world anymore either. I tried not to cry. I really did. But the thing about love, especially a mother's love, is that it doesn't just fade because you've been told you no longer belong. It sits there, stubborn and alive, aching for the space it used to fill. I kept asking myself if I did something wrong. Was I too talkative? Did I embarrass her somehow? Maybe I told one of my old stories too many times. I started second-guessing everything. My clothes, my voice, the way I laughed. But deep down, I knew this wasn't really about me being too old or not fitting in. It was about her, about how she was trying to shape herself into something new, something she thought the world would approve of, and I guess I was a reminder of where she came from, a piece of her past she didn't want to show off. It's a strange feeling when your own child makes you feel like an uninvited guest in their life. You raise them, feed them, comfort them through every heartbreak, and one day, you realize they've built a world that no longer has space for you. But I couldn't stay angry. I told myself she's just growing. Maybe she didn't mean it the way it sounded. Still, those words lingered. They stayed in the air, in my chest, in the silence of every phone call she didn't return. That night, I went to bed early, though I couldn't sleep. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, wondering when love started needing an invitation to be welcome. And maybe that's when I started to understand that sometimes growing old doesn't just mean getting wrinkles or slowing down. It means watching the people you love drift away, one soft excuse at a time. but I wasn't ready to let her go. Not yet. I didn't hear from her for a while after that day. Maybe a week, maybe 2. I stopped counting after the first few days because every number just made the silence louder. I told myself she was busy. Work, friends, life. It all moves fast when you're young. I used to be that way too once. But still, every time the phone rang, I hoped it was her. It never was. I tried not to dwell on it. But it's funny how quiet a house can feel when you're waiting for a voice that doesn't come. I'd find myself talking to the walls sometimes, or to the photos on the mantel, especially the one of her when she was 10, missing her front teeth, holding up a drawing she made for Mother's Day. "To Mom, the best one in the world," it said in bright pink crayon. I still have that drawing. The paper's yellowed now, a little torn at the edges, but I keep it framed above my desk. It reminds me of a time when her love didn't have conditions, when it didn't need to fit in anywhere to be real. One Thursday morning, I decided to call her. My hands were shaking as I dialed. I didn't even realize how nervous I was until I heard her voice on the other end. "Hey, Mom," she said, like nothing had happened. I smiled. "Hi, sweetheart. I was just thinking about you." There was a pause, a long one, and then she said, "Oh yeah? How are you doing?" How am I doing? That's one of those questions people ask when they don't really want to know the answer. I said, "I'm okay. Just missing you." She sighed, the kind of sigh that sounds like someone looking at a clock, waiting for the moment to pass. "I've just been busy. Work's been crazy. And you know, the girls and we've been planning that trip I told you about." "Oh, that sounds nice," I said. "Where to?" "Cabo," she said, her voice lighting up. We've been talking about it for months. Finally booked it. I wanted to be happy for her, and part of me was. But there was another part, the mother part, that ached because she didn't sound like she missed me at all. "I'm glad you're going somewhere sunny," I said. "You always loved the ocean." "Yeah," she replied, distracted. "Anyway, I just wanted to check in real quick. I have to run. We're meeting for dinner soon." I nodded even though she couldn't see me. "All right, honey. You have fun." "I will. Love you, Mom." "I love you too." And then the line went dead. I sat there for a while holding the phone in my lap, listening to the quiet hum from the receiver. It used to be such a comforting sound. Now it just felt like a reminder of everything that had changed. After that, I started writing her little notes. Not letters, just small things. Cards I'd slip in the mail when I thought of her. Notes that said things like, "Saw sunflowers today, they reminded me of you." Or, "Baked peach cobbler this morning. Wish you were here to taste it." She never replied to those either, but it helped me somehow writing them, like I was sending pieces of myself out into the world, hoping one of them would find their way back to her heart. The holidays came next. Thanksgiving, then Christmas. For years, she'd spend both days with me. Even after she got married, she'd make sure to stop by for at least an hour. But that year, she didn't. Thanksgiving passed with just me and a small plate of stuffing and turkey. I kept the TV on for noise, but it wasn't the same. I caught myself setting 2 plates by habit, then putting one back in the cabinet. When Christmas came, I sent her a small gift. A scarf I knitted myself, soft blue wool like the ocean she loved. I wrapped it neatly, added a handwritten note that said, "Stay warm, sweetheart. Love always, Mom." A week later, I got a text. "Thanks for the scarf. It's nice." That was it. No, "I miss you." No, "Can we talk?" Just, "It's nice." I stared at that message for a long time. I must have read it 50 times. Like maybe if I looked hard enough, I'd find the love between the lines. But it wasn't there. You know what hurts the most about growing older? It's not the aching knees or the bad back. It's realizing you've become a part of someone's past when they're still the center of your world. I tried to fill my days after that. Gardening, baking, little walks to the park. The neighbors would wave sometimes, ask how I was doing. I'd smile and say, "Good, thanks." I always said good, even when I wasn't. But every night when I'd sit down to eat, I'd find myself staring at the empty chair across from me. The one she used to sit in, talking about her dreams and plans. The one that still carried her laughter in the wood. And that's when I realized something. Distance doesn't always happen miles apart. Sometimes it happens across the dinner table. One evening, a few weeks later, I got an invitation in the mail. It was from her. A little card with shiny gold letters. At first, my heart leapt. I thought, finally, she's reaching out. But when I opened it, my heart sank again. It wasn't for me. Not really. It was a general invite. Her company's event. Something she must have sent to a list. I could tell because my name wasn't written by her hand. It was printed machine perfect. Still, I thought about going, just to see her, just to feel close. I picked out my nicest dress, the navy one she once said made my eyes look kind. And I did my hair the way she used to like it, when she was a little girl. But when the night came, I couldn't bring myself to go. I sat in front of the mirror, looking at my reflection, and said softly, "She doesn't want you there." And maybe that was the first time I said it out loud. The truth that had been sitting inside me for months. She didn't want me around anymore. I don't think she hated me. I think she was just embarrassed by me, by my slow pace, my simple words, the way I tell stories too long, the way I still say darn instead of damn. She used to think those things made me cute. Now, they made me out of touch. It's strange, isn't it? How the very things they once loved about you become the reasons they pull away. But still, I couldn't stop loving her, even after all that. I remember one afternoon, I was sitting by the window knitting, when the phone buzzed. It was a message from her, the first one in weeks. "Hey, Mom, hope you're doing okay. I might stop by this weekend for a bit." Just one line, but it was enough to make my heart feel alive again. I spent the next 2 days preparing. I made her favorite cookies. Chocolate chip with extra chips, the way she liked when she was a kid. I dusted the shelves, washed the curtains, even took out the old photo albums. I thought maybe we'd look through them together, like we used to. Well, Saturday came. I woke up early, made coffee, and sat near the window where I could see the driveway. Every few minutes I'd glance outside. Each sound, a car door, a bird, even the wind, made my heart jump. But noon passed, then 1 o'clock, then 2. By 5, I knew she wasn't coming. I sat down, looking at the plate of cookies I'd made. They were still warm. I whispered to myself, maybe next time. That's the thing about mothers. We always believe in next time. Even when the evidence keeps breaking our hearts, we keep hoping that maybe next time they'll remember us. Maybe next time they'll see how much we love them. The next morning, I got another text. "Sorry, Mom, something came up. Maybe next week?" I replied, "It's okay, sweetheart. I understand." And I did understand. That's what hurt the most. Because I remember what it's like to be young and busy and pulled in 1,000 directions. I just didn't think she'd ever let one of those directions lead her away from me completely. A few weeks later, I saw a post on her social media. She was out with her friends, smiling, laughing, holding a drink, wearing that same blue dress I bought her last Christmas, the one she never even mentioned. They looked so happy, so full of life, and there, in the middle of them all, was my daughter. My little girl, the one who used to beg me to braid her hair, now surrounded by people who probably didn't even know my name. The caption said, "Couldn't ask for a better group. My people." I stared at that picture for a long time. My people. It shouldn't have stung as much as it did, but it did. Because once upon a time, I was her people. I didn't comment. I didn't like the photo. I just sat quietly and whispered, "You look beautiful, sweetheart." Days turned into weeks again. The phone stayed silent. The cookies went stale. And life, well, life kept going, even when it didn't feel like much of a life anymore. One evening, I decided to visit the small park near my house, the one where I used to take her when she was little. There's an old wooden bench by the pond, the same one we used to sit on while feeding ducks. I sat there for a long time, watching the ripples on the water, the sunlight fading, and I remembered her voice, that sweet, high-pitched laugh when she'd throw pieces of bread and shout, "Look, Mom, they like me!" I remember telling her once, "Everyone likes you, sweetheart. You have a kind heart. That's something people feel, even before they know you." Funny thing, I still believe that. She does have a kind heart. I just think the world made her hide it. Maybe she thought kindness made her weak. Or maybe the people around her told her it wasn't cool to be close to her mom. I don't know. But I do know this. I raised her with love. Real love. The kind that doesn't fade when you're embarrassed or tired or growing older. That night, I came home and found myself going through old letters she'd written me. Birthday cards, Mother's Day notes, things she'd written when she was still mine. One of them said, "Mom, you're my best friend. Don't ever forget that." I traced those words with my finger, and I thought, I didn't forget. You did. But even then, I couldn't bring myself to feel angry, just empty. I think there's a moment every parent faces when you realize love isn't always returned the way you give it. It doesn't mean it's gone, just that it changes shape. Some nights I sit in my armchair, watching the clock tick, and I wonder if she ever thinks of me. Maybe when she drives by a bakery and smells cookies, or when she hears a song I used to hum. Maybe I still live somewhere small inside her, hidden behind all the noise of her busy life. One day, she called out of the blue. Her voice was cheerful, bright, almost too bright. "Hey, Mom, guess what? We're having a get-together this weekend. Some friends, a few co-workers, and I thought, maybe you could come by?" I froze. It took me a second to even respond. "Oh," I said softly. "I'd love to." She sounded hesitant for a moment, then added, "It's kind of a casual thing, though. Everyone's around my age, you know. Just don't. Don't overdo it, okay?" "Overdo it?" I asked. "You know, just don't tell too many stories or anything. They might not get your humor." She tried to laugh it off, but I could hear it in her tone. That nervous edge, the one people get when they're trying to warn you without saying it outright. I smiled, even though my chest hurt. "Don't worry, honey. I'll behave." She laughed. "I know you will. Love you, Mom." "I love you too," I whispered. After the call, I sat for a while thinking about what she said. Don't overdo it. As if my presence might somehow ruin her evening. Still, I wanted to go, because no matter what, I was still her mother, and mothers show up, even when they're told not to. I spent that Saturday morning getting ready. I wore my best blouse, put on a little lipstick, and tied my hair the way she always liked. When I arrived, I saw her standing by the door. She looked beautiful, confident, stylish, glowing. "Mom," she said, smiling wide. But there was something in her eyes, that flicker of discomfort she couldn't quite hide. Inside, everyone was chatting, laughing, holding drinks. Music played softly in the background. She introduced me quickly, almost like she was getting it over with. "This is my mom," she said. She's kind of old-fashioned, but she's sweet." The people smiled politely. One of them said, "Oh, how nice to meet you." Another just nodded. I tried to join the conversation, but it felt like I was standing outside a window, looking in. Their words moved fast, about work trips, new apps, celebrity gossip, things I didn't understand, things that made me feel like a foreigner in my own daughter's world. At one point, I tried to tell a small story about how she used to sing loudly in the grocery store when she was little. Everyone laughed politely, but she didn't. She looked at me, her smile tight, and said, "Oh, Mom," the way people say when they're embarrassed. And in that small moment, I understood everything. I didn't fit in anymore, not with her friends, maybe not even in her life. I excused myself soon after, saying I wasn't feeling well. She hugged me quickly. The kind of hug that says, "Thank you for coming," but not, "Please stay." When I got home, I sat in the dark for a while. The silence was heavy, but it was honest. Because for the first time, I stopped pretending I didn't see what was happening. She had outgrown me, or maybe she thought she had. But what she didn't understand was, you never really. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing her voice in my head. "Mom, you don't fit in with my friends anymore," it echoed, over and over, like a whisper that refused to fade. I sat in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the years I'd tried to fit into her world. When she was young, I learned about her favorite TV shows, her favorite singers, even the slang she used with her friends. I did it because I wanted to understand her, to meet her where she was. But somewhere along the line, she stopped meeting me halfway, and I suppose that's what hurt the most. Realizing that the bridge I kept trying to cross between us, she stopped walking from the other side. The next morning, I made myself some tea and sat by the window. The sunlight felt too bright, too indifferent. I looked at the photos on the wall. Her graduation, her wedding. That one picture of us laughing at the beach when she was 12. I traced my finger over the frame and whispered, "You used to look at me like I was your whole world. And now, I'm not even sure I'm a footnote in hers." A few days later, I went grocery shopping. As I walked through the aisles, I saw a woman about my age with her daughter, laughing, teasing each other, trying on silly sunglasses. For a moment, I just stood there, watching them. It was such a small thing, a mother and daughter sharing an afternoon. But it hit me harder than I expected. I turned my cart away and pretended to look at the pasta sauce, but my eyes blurred. That night when I got home, I picked up my phone and opened her contact. My thumb hovered over the call button for a long time, but I didn't press it, because I didn't want to be the one always reaching out first, so I put it down. And that silence between us grew thicker, heavier. Days passed, then weeks. The seasons began to change. The air got colder, and soon the leaves outside turned gold and red. I decorated the porch with a small pumpkin, just like I used to when she was little. It made the house feel a little less empty. One afternoon, as I was sitting on the porch, my neighbor, Clara, came over with her dog. She's younger, maybe in her 40s, but kind. Always stops to chat. "You doing okay, Mrs. Hart?" she asked. I smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach your eyes. "Oh, you know, one day at a time." She nodded. "If you ever need company, you know you're always welcome at our place. We're having a little dinner next week, actually. Nothing fancy, just family and a few friends." I hesitated, then said, "That sounds lovely. Thank you." She smiled warmly before walking away, and I sat there thinking about her invitation. It had been so long since someone invited me anywhere. The next week I went. I brought a pie, my late husband's favorite recipe. And when I walked into her home, everyone smiled, welcomed me, pulled out a chair for me. I didn't know most of them, but for a few hours it didn't matter. We laughed, shared stories, passed dishes around. Someone asked me about my knitting, another about the little garden in my yard. They listened when I spoke, really listened, and for a brief moment I felt like I belonged again. When I came home that night, I sat quietly on my couch. The pie dish was empty. My heart wasn't. It's strange how strangers can make you feel more seen than your own blood sometimes. The next morning, I got a message from my daughter. Just 2 words. "Hey, Mom." I smiled, replied instantly. "Hi, sweetheart. How are you?" No reply. Hours passed. Then a day. Then 2. Still nothing. I tried not to take it personally. Maybe she was busy. Maybe she got distracted. Maybe I was just Maybe I wasn't on her list of priorities anymore. And I know I sound dramatic, but when all you have left is waiting for your child's message, silence feels like rejection. Sometimes I sit and think about what changed. Where did I lose her? Was it something I said? Something I did? Or is this just how life works? Parents giving everything, and children growing into people who no longer need them. I tell myself she's happy. That's all I ever wanted. But sometimes I wish her happiness didn't mean my absence. A few months later, she called. It was the middle of the day. Her voice sounded rushed, distracted. "Hey, Mom. Just wanted to let you know. I got promoted at work." I smiled so big, my cheeks hurt. "Oh, honey, that's wonderful. I'm so proud of you." "Thanks," she said. "Yeah, it's been hectic. Oh, and we're hosting a dinner for my co-workers next week. Maybe you can come by for a little while?" My heart fluttered. Of course, I'd love to. But then she added quickly, "Just try to keep it light, okay? They're all pretty young and modern. You know how it is." I chuckled softly. "I'll do my best not to scare them off." She laughed. "You're the best, Mom. See you then." I spent days preparing again. Picked out a simple dress, made sure my hair looked nice, even practiced smiling in the mirror because I didn't want to seem too nervous. When the evening came, I arrived right on time. Her house was beautiful, modern, bright, filled with laughter. But as soon as I walked in, I noticed it. That flicker of unease in her eyes. "Mom, you made it," she said quickly, guiding me to the kitchen. "Everyone's just hanging out. Drinks are on the counter." The room was full of people, young, laughing. It's funny, you know, how life slows down when the house gets quiet. The ticking of the clock feels louder. The hum of the refrigerator becomes a kind of companion. And sometimes when I catch my reflection in the window, I barely recognize that woman staring back at me. There was a time when my life was full of noise. Laughter, footsteps, doors opening and closing, voices calling Mom or Grandma from every corner of the house. Now, the only sound I hear most days is the wind brushing against the trees outside. I don't blame her for growing up, for building a life of her own. That's what I always wanted. For her to live, to be happy, to have more than I ever did. But I wish she understood that I didn't want to be needed. I just wanted to be included. Sometimes I sit in my armchair with a cup of tea, scrolling through old photos on my phone. Her wedding, her graduation, birthdays where she blew out candles while I stood behind her, clapping. Every memory feels like a piece of my heart wrapped in light. And then I see the newer photos, the ones she posts now. Brunches with friends, trips to the coast, parties full of people I don't know. No mention of me. No sign I even exist in that world. It's strange how a person can be so alive in one chapter of your story and disappear entirely in the next. But here's what I've learned. You can't force people to remember you the way you remember them. You can only love them quietly, from a distance, and hope that one day, when the noise around them fades, they'll hear the echo of your love still ringing in their heart. One Sunday, months later, I was in the garden pulling weeds when I heard a car door close out front. I looked up and there she was, my daughter, standing there with a bouquet of daisies in her hands. "Hey, Mom," she said softly. I blinked, too surprised to speak. She stepped forward, her voice trembling a little. I was driving by and, I don't know, I just wanted to stop. I smiled, that same smile she used to see every time she came home from school. "I'm glad you did." She walked closer, handed me the flowers. "I'm sorry if I've been distant. Things have been busy." I nodded gently. Life tends to get that way. We stood there for a while, side by side, the air between us soft and forgiving. She looked around at my garden, the same one we planted together when she was little. "You still keep it so beautiful," she said. "It keeps me company," I replied. She smiled a little sadly. Then she said, "Maybe I can come by next weekend. Help you with the yard? I wanted to say yes, of course, yes. But I knew not to hold my breath. Still, I said softly, I'd like that. She hugged me then. It wasn't long, but it was real, warm, familiar. When she drove away, I stood there watching her taillights disappear down the street. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel angry or hurt or forgotten. I just felt grateful. Grateful that maybe, just maybe, there was still a thread connecting us. Thin, fragile, but real. That evening, I set the daisies in a vase by the window. As the sun set, the petals caught the light, glowing gold. And I thought, maybe love doesn't vanish when it's ignored. Maybe it just waits patiently, like sunlight through the clouds, ready to warm whoever remembers to look up. So yes, she said I didn't fit in with her friends anymore. But I've learned I don't have to. I don't need to fit anywhere. I'm not meant to belong. My love doesn't need an invitation. It just exists. And if she ever reaches back for me again, I'll still be here, not waiting, but open, because that's what mothers do. Even when they're forgotten, they keep loving, quietly, completely. So if you're listening to me now, if you've ever felt left out, unseen, or uninvited, I want you to know something. You still matter. You still have worth. You still have love to give. Don't let their silence define your heart. Don't let their distance take away your light. Because sometimes, peace comes not from being remembered, but from learning to remember yourself. And if this story found you tonight, maybe it's because you needed to hear that too. So please, if my story touched you, if it reminded you of someone you once loved or someone you still do, share it. Let someone else know they're not alone in that ache. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, stories about love, loss, and finding peace in unexpected places, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for spending this time with me. And remember, even when the world grows quiet, love still speaks. You just have to listen.